Most people think the difference between a $10 million company and a $10 billion empire is, I don't know, intelligence, maybe capital, or just being in the right place at the right time. But they're wrong. The real difference is a single, fundamental cognitive framework. It's a way of thinking that can either completely tank your future or unlock basically infinite growth. This one belief, right here, from Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, this is the seed. It's the starting point of a mindset so dangerous it can literally rot an entire organization from the inside out. And it's the belief that our abilities, our talents, they're just carved in stone. And look, this isn't some fuzzy academic theory. This exact mindset, this obsession with innate, God-given talent, is what built the culture at Enron. It created a place where employees were so terrified of looking like they didn't know something, they hid catastrophic, company-killing failures. So yeah, this isn't a soft skill. Mindset has billion-dollar consequences. Which brings us to what I call the billion-dollar blind spot. It's probably the single most critical factor for success that, for some reason, most leaders just completely overlook. All right, so let's get to the heart of it. Dweck's research basically lays out two fundamental operating systems for how our brains work. And these aren't personality traits, they're just beliefs. And the best part is, you get to choose which one you want to run. So first up, you've got the fixed mindset. This is the OS that runs on the idea that you've got a finite, fixed amount of talent. That's it. So every single situation becomes a test, a final verdict on how smart you are, or how good you are. The main goal here isn't to learn, it's to look smart and avoid failure at any cost. And then there's the growth mindset. Now, this system runs on a totally different belief, that your abilities are like muscles. You can develop them, you can grow them. So challenges, they're not threats anymore, they're opportunities. The goal isn't to prove you're great, it's to become greater. And when you see them side by side like this, it's pretty stark, isn't it? On the left, it's a final verdict. I'm good, or I'm not. On the right, it's a process. I can get better. And that one little shift in what you believe, it changes how you react to absolutely everything, from getting feedback to dealing with setbacks. Okay, so theory is great, but let's talk about what really matters in business: hard results. Let's see how this psychology stuff actually translates into profit, because this is where mindset directly hammers the bottom line. I mean, the data on this is just staggering. In companies that really build a growth mindset culture, employee engagement is 47% higher. Just think about that for a second. Almost half your workforce is more committed, more bought in, just because they feel like they have a path to get better, not just a daily judgment. And that engagement, it's not just some feel-good metric. It goes straight to the top line. These same companies report 49% higher revenue growth. And why is that? It's simple. A culture that embraces learning is a culture of innovation, period. But here it is. This is the ultimate scoreboard. Over time, these growth mindset companies deliver 65% higher stock prices. Wall Street always rewards organizations that can adapt, evolve, and learn faster than the competition. You want a case study? The most powerful one out there is Microsoft. Back in 2014, it was the stagnant, bureaucratic giant. Then Satya Nadella took over and pulled off one of the biggest corporate turnarounds in history. And how'd he do it? He built it on this one strategic shift, from a fixed know-it-all culture to a growth learn-it-all culture. So the big question is, how did they do it? Well, one of their most powerful tools was this little idea called the power of yet. A project didn't fail, it just hasn't hit its goal yet. And that's not just playing with words. It's a strategic move that turns a dead end into a learning loop. It stops that paralysis that always happens after a failure in a fixed mindset company. And this brings us to a huge pitfall for so many organizations with a fixed mindset, something I call the talent trap. It's this worship of natural ability, and let me tell you, it is a strategic dead end. Just look at the difference here. Fixed mindset leaders, they hire for pedigree. They're constantly judging people. Growth mindset leaders, they hire for resilience. They develop people. The first approach, it creates this fragile culture of stars who are terrified of messing up their perfect record. The second one creates a scalable, tough-as-nails team that actually gets stronger from challenges. This comic, it just perfectly captures how absurd the fixed mindset really is. This belief that putting in effort is actually a sign of weakness. The idea that if you were a real genius, it would just come easy. That is the single greatest killer of potential there is. So the strategy here is clear. You have to shift your main hiring metric. Move away from pedigree and focus on what I call learning velocity. How quickly can someone learn, adapt, and bounce back from a failure? That is a way better predictor of their long-term value than some fancy diploma on the wall. Okay, enough theory, enough strategy. Let's make this real. Here is your playbook, your step-by-step guide to installing a growth mindset operating system into your own organization. First, you gotta audit your language. Stop praising talent, start praising process. In your interviews, ask people about their biggest screw-ups and what they learned, not just their greatest hits. Next, make the power of yet official company policy. Reframe every missed target as a not yet and make it part of your project management. Third, change what you celebrate. Reward the smart effort, the good risks, the persistence, not just the perfect outcome. And finally, and this one is absolutely crucial, leaders have to go first. You have to model it. Share your own struggles. Show people that true strength isn't about being perfect. It's about being a relentless learner. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. A fixed mindset, it's a path that's paved with ego, and it leads to stagnation. A growth mindset, though, that's a launch pad for change that has no ceiling. In the end, your company can only grow as much as your own mindset allows. So, which one are you building?